Hi everyone, Chuck Hamilton once again with another pilot focus interview here. We're here at beautiful Rosewood, Indiana. Warbirds and Classics of the Bluegrass 2021, day 3. It's Saturday, sun shining. Probably one of the most most scenic events that we do. I'm here with a really good friend of mine, my buddy Johnny Boyko. How you doing, bud?
Good. How you doing, Chuck?
I'm doing good. Johnny's lives in Dayton now, Pittsburgh native, but now in the Dayton area, and we're here. We're gonna have a nice little chat about his beautiful T-34 Mentor. But hey, John, you go back a long ways in this hobby. I've seen you at the Nats. I've seen you at Top Gun. You have the World Championships aspirations. You're working on a project for that.
Yep.
But let's go back in time. Let's hit the rewind button. And
Okay.
what got you in that hobby?
So it was actually my dad. This is a really cool classic story. My dad was building airplanes. He's of that era where Scientific America and Popular Science, like the guys would go, buy the magazines and build whatever was in the articles. So he's that very old school kind of person. And he was doing flying control line at the time and doing some stick and tissue willows, free flight stuff. And he had a chest of drawers in the basement. And one of the drawers was all of his airplane stuff. And he says, whatever you do, you don't go in there. That's my stuff. Well, inevitably, my brother and I would just go in there and peek, go in there and dig a little bit, and go in there and dig a little bit more. And we found a little old OK Cub 049 glow motor. And, hey, Dad, what's this? Oh, that's a model airplane engine. Let's go to the hobby shop and buy some fuel and a prop and glow plug. And we made, little 049 noises. Well, that got us interested into kind of the model airplane stuff. I built my first stick and tissue Willows bird dog. I was 5.
Well, how impressive!
So from 5, I'm 54 next week actually. And I've always been doing something with the model airplane hobby since then. I did stick and tissue stuff, flew control line, got into the RC stuff probably when I was like 15 or 16, and always, open up the magazines and look at the Top Gun articles. This is like 85, 86, the Scale Master stuff, and I've always been hooked on doing this kind of modeling.
Awesome, fantastic.
Yep. So I tell my dad, it's your fault that I'm doing this, that I have this great hobby. I call it an addiction, jokingly, but it's his fault that I'm in the middle of it.
Is your dad still around with us? He's still with us?
Yep, he's still with us. He still flies 2 or 3 times a week, all electrics back home in Pennsylvania.
I'd love to hear that.
Yep, he's still very active and flying some Horizon Hobby products as well and having a good time.
The best in brands, as they say.
Yes, sir.
What was your first airplane? Your first, I'm going to say air quotes here, modern RC airplane. I'm not going back to the escapement days that my dad flew, but
Right.
When did it get your first, I'm going to say, complicated aircraft?
First complicated aircraft? Probably my first most successful aircraft was a Tipperary. It was a pattern plane. That was actually the one. I still have it today. I finished it in like 87. Flew the landing gear out of it 2 or 3 times. Flying touch and goes and stuff. Never flew pattern, but it was a great flying airplane. So let me think about this. I moved to Ohio in like 2000. I had aspirations to do the scale competition. Started flying IMAC. So I really got into doing the IMAC stuff for several years. Taught me rudder, taught me throttle management, really taught me how to fly and place maneuvers.
Present the airplane, positioning of the aircraft.
And fly in conditions that most people wouldn't.
Right.
So that was probably up through till about, from 2000 to probably about 2005. And then I built my first scale airplane, competition airplane, which was a Big Pit Special.
Okay.
From there I morphed into...
was that a red and white one or yellow and black one?
Yellow and dark purple, which is black.
I remember that.
Yep. Had huge success with that airplane. It's a great flying airplane. Wore it out.
It's a good airplane then.
It's a good airplane at that point. This is probably, thinking about the most complicated airplane I did was I did a Cessna Skymaster after the pits.
That's right.
So that was twin engine, push-pull, custom nose gear. Actually, Daryl from Sierra did the nose gear. Then I had designed the main gear that folds up underneath the airplane. I flew that from 2012 through 2015 until it met its demise in midair. So that was like my first really complicated airplane, and that was a design project on top of it. So it was all in at that point.
All in. So that's probably the aircraft that set the hook, if they say, as far as moving forward and making the next step
into like the complicated airplanes.
Yeah.
I think I'm getting into jets here over the next couple of weeks. My first trainer jet, and I think that if I hadn't done the Skymaster, I probably wouldn't be going into the jets at this point.
Right.
Because once you do a project like that, you had to do custom duct work, and it was something that I built my own plugs for cals, for the windscreens.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of engineering in that project. So
Absolutely.
that was definitely a thump.
And that's doing that, and I don't know if anybody out there has made their own molds or made their own plugs, how extensive those work. You're actually, it's so much of the front work you're doing to get the final result. The final result almost is the easy part, right?
It is. It was easier to pull the part out of the mold than it was to do everything else.
Yeah. So let's simple a bit forward here, and let's talk about this beautiful T-34. You've been campaigning this one for 3-4 years now?
Yeah, it's been 3 years, I think, since I've had it put it together. It's actually an older airplane. It was actually built in 2002. It competed in 2003 Top Gun. I purchased it 3 years ago. It is a Bob Patton T-34.
Okay.
Bob Patton is another one of those modelers that does his own mold, so he did his own mold work. It's a fiberglass fuselage, foam core, wing, and stabs. Sheeted with balsa wood and glassed. We believe it's painted with PPG paint.
Okay.
The airplane pretty much is how I got it. So the finish, I didn't do anything special with the finish other than dust off all the cobwebs. I did go through the entire airplane. Everything in it that moves is new. All the radio equipment's new. Engine's a GT80, which is 3 years old. All of the retract systems I went through, replaced all the air cylinders. So everything on the inside was gutted and taken and put back together.
Is gear Robart or Daryl's?
So it is a Robart. It's Robart gear that was designed for the T-34, for Bob's T-34 specifically. And to be honest with you, it's been a great airplane.
Well, I've seen you competing with this. Once I started competing and I got into the scene, you've been flying this airplane a lot. And even, like I said, we're here in Rosewood, Indiana at the WCA Classics, Warburg Classic Alliance event. And when you fly, and I notice this, and I do the same thing, you fly your maneuver.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's almost like when you take off, I know your next turn, your next maneuver, and that's the competition side that kicks in, right?
Right.
But that's also the practice. And flying in good conditions, bad conditions, it doesn't matter. And when I see you fly this thing, I pretty much know what your routine is, what you're going to do next.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Chuck. Being in the hobby as long as I have, the competition keeps me fresh. It keeps you focused. And anytime you're out there flying, you're always practicing something. You're also stretching the envelope of your comfort zone, whether it's flying lower or you're doing, unusual attitude maneuvers and playing around a little bit with that stuff.
Really exploring that power, that airspeed power combination.
Weight management.
Yes.
She's has a lot of mass to it.
Yep.
And certainly that's probably been the biggest thing for me, is to be flying an airplane that weighs 54 pounds and managing the inertia of it. That's what a lot of people don't get with these bigger airplanes.
And think about it, you're flying a 54-pound airplane on an 80cc and Sanoa twin that a 60 twin now puts out just as much horsepower.
Yes.
And my Dauntless is 45 pounds, has the same engine, and now I would have to add another 9 pounds to add to get the performance. And that's what I don't think a lot of people understand is we're not flying on the prop or flying on the wing,
Right.
and how you feel that and how you manage that airspeed
Right.
is so huge. And then try and do it in front of a set of judges and position the aircraft, fighting the winds, fighting the nerves,
Right.
all that. Fantastic. It's a high visibility airplane. It has all the sexiness about it, the colors, visibility, and you fly it obviously as a true champ. You compete it all well. Let's look a little bit forward now, and I've talked to you a little bit about this. What's next?
What's next? So I do have aspirations. I'm very involved with the National Association of Scale Air Modelers, which is the special interest group for the AMA. We run the Scale Nationals. We run a series of, I think, 10 local scale contests now throughout the country. We are part of being the special interest group for AMA. We picked the U.S. team for the World Championships, and we're getting back into doing that. So the next project is going to be a Jerry Bates P-51B, 5th scale. That'll be my competition plane, hopefully, for the world stage. I think there's a lot of pride and prestige in representing our country internationally. You know, you talk to the guys that do it. You know, it may be model airplanes, but it still has the same effect as the Olympics.
Yeah.
You know, just kind of like in a model airplane area. But the two projects that are on the bench right now is a Viper jet. So I'm putting my toe into the dark side of turbine powered airplanes. It's a Zeal Viper jet, 3 meters, King Tech 160. And then as I'm finishing that up, I'm also working on a Compar Corsair.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, we forgot about that one.
Yeah, we did.
It's going to have a different power plant than a Moki. Going to put a DLE 222 into that, and that should be a Top Gun with us this year.
In 2022.
2022. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
And if we jump to that P-51B model and flying in the world stage, there's quite a bit more involved in that than just a normal aircraft you would build, let's say for the Nats, the Scale Masters, Top Gun, etc. Because you are bound now by a very critical weight limit, correct?
Right. So for the World Championships, it's any scale airplane, but you're limited to 33 pounds, 15 kilograms or 33 pounds. So during the build process, you got to be very cognizant of weight, what to take out, where you can cheat a little bit on weight and still maintain an airframe that you can box up, ship overseas, then fly competitively and not have it come apart. So there's some thinking you got to go through all that stuff.
And when you mentioned boxed up and just ship, and because I've thought about shipping my Dauntless or whatever down to Florida instead of making that great 17-hour trip we do, in the spring, and my heart just flutters when I think about creating an airplane. But you know, that's what these guys do, and so that's why I wanted to bring that up. And plus, how many times have we all built an airplane and we have a just imaginary target, and then we miss it.
Yep.
And then you're like, oh God.
Now what do I do with it?
Yep. So, but I wish you the best of luck in that endeavor, and I really appreciate you taking time out of a beautiful sunny day to do this interview for us, and I appreciate you, man. Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you very much for interviewing. Thinking of me to be interviewed.
One last thing before we go. What's the technology? I want to ask this question because the shirt you're wearing.
Right.
But I'm Power Box or Power Safe.
It is a 20 channel Power Safe receiver flying on DX20. All the control surfaces are moved by the 6300 series servos. I'm running life batteries because I can't get the batteries out of the airplane, so no lipos on this ship.
Right.
And the GT80, the guys always say that's just a GT80, and it's one of them ones that just runs, and it's on a magneto, and it's fuel and fly it.
My Dauntless the same way. It's like the people cannot get on. Plus the prop I swing and with the vertical maneuvers I do with it. It's just, man, it's a great package.
It's a great package.
So hey, thank you very much once again for joining us here on this beautiful day. But let's go fly some airplanes.
Let's go fly some airplanes, man. Absolutely, man.
Hey guys, thanks again for joining us on another pilot interview here at the Warbirds Classic Alliance in pilot profile. And from myself, Chuck Hamilton, and Andrew Gideon, we thank you. Please like and share That way we keep more of these things going for you. We've got a lot more in the books we want to do. Show you the pilots that Andy films constantly. Now we just put a face with an aircraft and a little bit of history with them. Peace out, everybody. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.